Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Market Check, brought to you by BB. This is effectively our Friday, guys. For those who are unaware, markets will be closed tomorrow. So, yeah, we have come into the end of another week, although this one with a little bit different of a theme than kind of the last few weeks that have just been utterly chaotic. This one was a little bit choppy, right? But we'll get more into that in a second. I'm Tommy. You guys also know me as Snorlax. I'm joined by Tucker, Jackus, and of course, Max. Welcome, guys. We're going to finish off this week the right way for you all. But before we can do that, before we can talk about the chop, but obviously still some opportunity here, and I do think there are some interesting things still, as always, going on in the interwebs of crypto and, of course, equity markets. I'm going to ask you guys very kindly to hit the like button, right? Maybe you're excited that it's a short week. Maybe you're just excited that this week wasn't utterly chaotic like the last 3 or 4. Whatever you need to do to justify hitting that like button, as always, guys, we are very appreciative when you do. But yeah, like I said, even though the market's been a bit choppy, right? And I think the title is appropriate in a sense, right? Like, wake me up when the market moves. How long are we going to have this chop? Is this kind of like the calm in between the storm, or in the storm of volatility that we've seen here really since the inauguration in January? But I guess yesterday we did have Powell come out, say a bunch of things that probably continue to strain his relationship with the current administration. At the same time, you've got things happening with Coinbase on chain, Binance trying to onboard more countries with strategic reserves, and of course, Bitcoin battling that ever important $85,000 level. ETH still trying to flip 1,600, Solana around that 130, 135 mark. And equities, which, were red yesterday, but are showing a little bit more strength now today. We'll see kind of how they close the week and open next week ultimately. But yeah, I feel like once again, markets are at a pivot point. Are we going to see selling accelerate further? Or are we beginning to see some long-term bottoms form across the board? Things that we will debate on today's show. If you guys have anything that you want us to talk about on the show today, whether that be a ticker, whether that be news, drop it in the comments, and we will, we'll probably end up picking the best ones, right? But how are we doing, guys? I'm sure we kind of all can appreciate a shorter, more calm week than the last few. I don't know about you guys, but I can at least. How are we doing, guys? And what are we seeing in the markets, not just this week, but also, going forward into the end of April?
Well, I feel that this week has been, like, after all the weeks, again, one of the least volatiles in a long time. And it's still surprising to me that it's Thursday and Bitcoin is still the same price as it was on Friday. And we had a slight news. We saw Trump attacking Powell pretty much once again. He likes to do that. Nothing he likes more these days.
he's so direct. It's almost like awkward, like,
Yeah.
I can't wait until he gets fired. It's just like so direct.
And
well,
then he would
come out and like just kind of explicitly FUD the market yesterday. I almost feel like I saw somebody give some good commentary. Like, Powell was putting it on a little too thick yesterday. So it's not a surprise that we're seeing Trump maybe respond today. It's pretty clear their relationship is getting more and more strained, I think, as time goes on.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not surprised at all. Obviously, I don't think anybody should be.
Listen, the moment Powell is gone, he'll be like, "Oh, that happened in the Powell era. He is to blame."
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
now we will be the greatest again because this new chairman is in the office or something like that.
Who would even be the next Fed chair? Is there a betting market for that could answer that?
I'm sure there is, Tommy. Let's see.
scour the poly market with.
Oh yeah, who will? Okay, let's see.
Kevin Warsh, 10%. No announcement by June is still 86, 87%. So
When is Powell's term coming to an end, by the way? I think it's
next year.
close. Yeah.
2026 at some point.
Yeah. They have a 6-year terms? Or
I do not know the answer to that.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But yeah, Kevin Warsh seems to be the guy. But I feel like this is one of those markets where if there's going to be any insider information, we're going to see
40-year terms.
poly market pretty quickly.
For sure. I feel like poly market's usually a little bit ahead. So it's not perfect, but not bad.
They have 4-year terms, and Powell is in his second term.
When is his next term supposed to end? I'm sorry, did we say that already?
26.
May of 2026. I don't think he'll last. I don't think he's gonna make it that long.
You don't think so?
No.
It does
Trump,
seem like a bit of a tall
he's in
task,
the
given how.
crosshairs of Trump now. You know.
Yeah. And yesterday, like, Powell did not say one bullish thing outside of like I guess he was positive about stable coins.
Not bad.
Yeah.
I just read the news that judge rules Google operates illegal ad monopoly. It's probably hot news. Any thoughts?
I think the market. Well, so I feel like at the start of the week we got a lot of really positive news about certain tech stocks, and then throughout the week we've been getting some negative news about. I mean, we talked about Tiffany Fong and Tesla. I don't think that's enough to materially make the Tesla stock go lower, but obviously we had Nvidia getting fined. You have the Google headline that you just pointed out, Jack. And the market's not like really showing too much volatility at the moment. So I think it's going to take something pretty extreme to move equities, because it's almost like they need a bit of a dopamine detox, right? The last few weeks were overwhelming.
I think he cut out. Tell me.
He may
No,
have.
that was.
Yeah, I think as you said, the last weeks or months actually, and weekends too, have been huge dopamine hits. So, and we are seeing that in the chart this week. Like again, Bitcoin price is the same as it was on last Friday.
I don't love this. I don't love this.
I guess the ultimate question mark into next week. 30 level. Sentimentally and positionally important.
Yeah. Don't love that it's holding 30.
It's like the type of condition, though, when you have the VIX not doing anything, where calls and puts are both losing money.
Yeah.
Trying to think of what that reminds me of.
Can we look at the volume candles as we discussed ahead?
Volume candles, yes, we can.
Yes, I feel those are very interesting.
Let's do them all. Okay. There's Bitcoin.
I mean, yeah, that girth at the bottom.
Just the way that you said that.
I know.
You're sick.
Look at those tiny candles that we have right now.
Yeah, not much volume being done.
Yeah, and a dip into that big one down below should get respected.
Well, it is a low volume week, right? Just kind of a product of the fact that we have a holiday.
Yeah,
Imagine a lot of people took this week off.
and dopamine detox. What about the weekly? And by the way, wait. Before you jump over, look at that November breakout candle. That's quite a volume. Nobody's talking to me. Everyone's muted. Anyways.
I had to get my cat out of the sink.
Tucker just left the chart, left
He
us.
just left. He left it open and then just dipped.
No, I mean, I'm going to continue to say that I think 85 is a more important level than 92K. Realistically, if we're breaking 85, you're probably going to see a slow grind into 92. And I'm not particularly looking to fade a move like that. You're going to get squeezed, in my opinion. Like, we always talk about how obvious retests in crypto are never so obvious. But if we squeeze up there aggressively, I guess I could maybe get on board with this. Is, this could be a fade. But if we slow grind in 92K, there's not really anything to be debating. But we need to break this 85K level first, because we've had a lot of positioning come in here in both directions.
We do. But you know how it goes. Once we break a certain level, then it becomes we need to break this level. I think the important one was already at 84, which we have broken out. And I agree that we have to now break 85. But I think, again, the positioning is to the upside right now. And so once you break 85, you will be at 92. And when we will be at 92, we will have to break that. And that will get us to 96, which we will have to break. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I just think if we're breaking kind of this supply that we're trading into and consolidating around, you're at least going into probably like 100 to 105K. I don't think you stop at 92. And I also think it's probably mostly a Bitcoin-led move, just given the look of Bitcoin dominance.
The strength of Bitcoin compared to any other asset is astonishing. Like everything, like if you take this move from January or even from December, right? It's just been so well traded. Like every single FVG have been filled. Like you had a few. You basically had one very quick move, which came in February, but it got immediately filled, and everything else have been so well traded. You cannot say that even for Mach 7 stocks, and that makes 40% or something of SPX. So in that sense, Bitcoin is truly established asset, and I find it crazy that some people think that this is the start of some huge bear market, man. Like with this type of strengths. The only way would truly have to be a global recession of 1929 style.
I think a lot of people are expecting that, truthfully. I see so much recession
every
talk
2 years.
on Twitter.
Every 2 years, max.
Yeah.
Since 1929, they are expecting the Great Recession every 2 years.
I know.
Probably.
What was it that Elon said a few weeks ago? Short but deep recession. But in fairness, I think he also called for one in 2023.
Yeah.
Somebody correct me if I'm wrong.
It's like it's going to end up being the boy who cried wolf with recession for most of these guys, where finally it will happen at some point and everyone will be like, nah, it's not going to happen.
I wouldn't take these calls from these guys too serious. You do not know what game they are playing. Lots of the times you do not know what's behind. So I just do not try to take it word for word. I feel like sometimes they're even trying to throw and see what sticks and what not.
Yeah, and what I've come to realize over time is that a lot of these macro guys are really good at narrating something that's going on, but they don't really know how to position around it.
Yeah. And how to predict.
Yeah, because most of this stuff is positional. It's a positional unwind up or down, and there's always some macroeconomic indicator that's in contraction, right? There's always something that's contracting, but it's like every single week we get jobs data and it's not bad. It seems like every single week we get some company that has earnings and they're not bad. And then every so often we get inflation data and it's like trending in the right direction. And then every week it's like global M2 is increasing, and it's just like these aren't really the conditions that you would expect a recession to materialize in, right? So I'm like, where are these guys getting this like global implosion narrative from? Is it like they're just hyper focused on like one indicator that looks bad? And then they're like, well, this one indicator is more important than the other 100, so recession. Like it might be like horse blinders or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's the difficult thing about predicting one in the first place, right? Is that data is almost a lagging indicator. So you can't really, if that's your expectation, you can't really position off of data, because by the time that the data confirms it's a recession, you're usually pretty close to a bottom.
Yeah.
And JP Morgan just announced a recession.
Yeah, they did do that.
I know Goldman flip-flopped a few times this week.
I feel like a lot of them are just doing it to like, all right, here's the thing. When they come out and they're bullish crypto, we kind of pump short term and then we end up nuking. Then they get super bearish and they're like, recession, we're buying gold, And I'm like, I feel like they're just talking their book on TV, Like they're just talking their trades that everybody's late to. Like they're not. I'm very skeptical that they're like warning people of the recession. I think they're more just like they nailed the gold trade and they're like talking up their book for a very short period of time and they're about to dump it, They're not giving you the narrative before it happens. Like they're basically just hyping up their book. I don't know. They've probably been long gold since like 1900.
I mean, would you even expect them otherwise?
No, absolutely not.
Always got to be talking your book, though, right?
Always. I'm not even blaming them. Like, fine, cool.
Speaking of talking their book, Binance trying to onboard some countries with the premise of like strategic reserves. I'm assuming they want that liquidity to be held on Binance. Because ETFs have taken a lot of native liquidity away from crypto, and obviously are custodying them, in these ETF products. This may be Binance's attempted equalizer, right? Trying to onboard these new countries, strategic reserve for crypto, for Bitcoin, but you hold them on Binance.
For sure, it's a good move.
I feel like every time we hope for, news to calm down in a low volatility week, we get it and then we're bored,
Look at that. Look at it since Tucker's finally back with the chart.
I'm back. I'm back.
Look at those two candles that struck you the most from the left side of the chart. One is literally at the bottom during August.
Right here.
And the other that struck me is the breakout candle through all-time highs.
Yeah.
And look where we bottomed currently, right on the closing of that one.
Yes, we did.
And I like that the current 2 bottom candles are also the biggest ones, girthiest ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I still think you're probably in for some of this, you know,
Of course.
but
Slow at first and then fast as in November. I like it.
mm-hmm.
I think it'd be a promising sign contextually if we can start to see. I mean, obviously Bitcoin has been strong, right? But if we start to see things like ETH and Sol and maybe even BNB see their first market structure break since like December, or January, I think that would paint a much more bullish context as well.
Well, we're here.
Mm-hmm. What am I hearing right now?
I'm typing. I'm working on something. I'm cooking.
Keyboard catting.
I'm just so bored with the market. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just not so fun. I'm just diving into some script right now, but it's sick.
the
gonna be
devs are
worth it.
the devs are working.
Yeah, Dev is doing something,
They
but
are
I'm not Dev.
Anyways, let's just watch the Bitcoin dominance chart for an hour and don't do anything.
We could watch the Bitcoin dominance chart on like the 30-second time frame. That'd probably be pretty entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
I just think this is, do I fade a slow grind? No, I don't think I will. This is going to give some like very large candle higher, and then it's going to top. Probably not before that, though.
Yeah.
Like 75, 80%, I don't think is completely out of the question. Maybe that's a bit too exuberant, but I don't think so.
The level I'm liking is around 68%, more or less. I kind of feel we should be defending that high on BTC dominance, especially due to the fact that lots of coins, like I think ETH BTC probably hits that prior cycle low, but given the fact that other coins like XRP and Solana against their BTC pairs are still higher and likely to stay there, I think BTC dominance shouldn't be hitting new highs.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think that it can?
Well, anything is possible, but I would rather see as a strong resistance area around 68%. Obviously, gotta see the reaction there, but that one would make sense to me to make the top if there is one, of course.
I feel like when we invert the Bitcoin dominance chart, it almost kind of paints like a better picture.
Tucker.
You want a little invert? I mean, it's just ETH BTC. I got you, though. I got you. I got you, brother. I mean, ooh. Yeah, feels like it wants like, you know.
I mean, I think it's gonna do either what Bitcoin did when it double topped, which would mean breaking those lows and bleeding. I don't think that's likely to happen. I think what's more likely is that we see something like what BNB did, where it eventually held those lows, but it did bleed all the way back down into them first.
Yeah.
I think this happens within like 3 or 4 months, honestly, that we see this this chart finally top out, though, I will say.
3-4 months, it's realistic. I think I still think though we need ETH BTC to pump for the alt season to really begin. And again, my definition of alt season is general altcoins outperforming Bitcoin. We had few of those, but not the overall.
Yeah, right
Even
now
if-
it's pretty limited to a small handful of assets.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even if we look at the the altcoin season index, right, which is a little bit of a meme, but it sort of does work. Currently, we are at the lows, so seems like we're like a good idea to position into alts. The last time was in the last time we were at these levels was August, which makes sense. August, September 24, and then the top came in December. And right now we are again at those levels from August. So it makes sense that alts are likely to make some push sooner than later.
What else are you looking at, Jackus, outside of, I mean, I feel like recently we've been talking about things like Fartcoin a lot, but obviously Hyperliquid shown strength too. I know we were talking about that yesterday. I think we mentioned Curve earlier this week as being an asset that could potentially outperform BTC. Anything else that kind of piques your interest right now?
Yeah, there isn't that much. I'm liking I gotta be honest, I'm still liking the Soul Strengths. I think that's a decent one, but from a structural standpoint, isn't much different from stuff like Kaspa or like lots of the stuff looks similar.
Mm-hmm.
What piques my interest is the potential bottom that's forming on Pepe.
Yes, sir.
That's definitely a good one. I think all of these markets needs a little bit more follow through to fully confirm. Again, it's sort of the same for ETH. As I said, I think ETH is at do or die level, but for both bulls and bears, because if bears are able to, like bears, and I understand it, right? People can be like, what is he talking about? How can bears be at a do or die level when we've been going down, since 4K? It's like bulls needs to prove something, not bears. And I agree that bears have been pushing it down. But the thing is that if bears aren't able to push us lower here and kill ETH, basically, you are looking at a structural reclaim on it, and you will be facing one sequence of events leading to another, in which you will reclaim the prior range, which will go and reclaim the prior range of 2024, which will lead on and go and fill all the CME gaps, which will eventually lead you to 3K, and that will eventually lead you to 4K, and so forth and so forth. So I think all of these charts have a little bit more to confirm, especially ETH, of course. But these could be truly, again, I'll probably sound like a broken record, but this is do or die level for all of these markets, and it either turns to be a generational opportunity, or it turns out to be the beginning of 1929 recession. And I understand that, and I'm like that serious about it, and I understand that can feel like that, that. And by the way, that's not me saying price can go up or down either, right? Because like you are at a great level and you play it until it's broken, versus like when ETH broken 3K in February, that was a significant, that wasn't do or die level to me. Like that was a good level to hold for further continuation, but when it was lost, that to me meant much lower, but not the end of the chart yet. But here, if ETH were to break lower, I think it would be the end of it. So in that sense, this is just so favorable to play. And I suppose you gotta be for a while in the markets to really spot these levels. And lots of the times also people, don't want to face the truth of like, yeah, but what if it's we can probably go lower, right? We will come back, but the reality is not. There are levels you cannot break. So
Jack, as I'm looking at the BTC 1 month chart right now, what do you think is the path for reversal for a chart that looks like that?
It needs to sweep the 2019 low, the prior cycle low, and it needs to sweep that and hold strong. It can on like a weekly perspective close below. That's not a big deal, but it needs to, everything below that low needs to be absorbed, and you need to see it bounce back up from there. That's the only thing.
Mm-hmm.
The good part is that you can now bounce from like the 0.15 and go to as low as just 0.4, and that's still 165% against Bitcoin. 165%. So the crazy part is that like for ETH to go back to its 2021 highs, that's gonna be nearly 500%, and that's even lucrative on like Ether. But I still think that ETH BTC doesn't outperform until it starts, until it at least reclaims like the 2024 range. But mainly my thesis has always been that ETH needs to break 4K on the USD pair, and that's when the BTC pair will start to outperform.
Do you think the inflection point is just going to kind of be like a product of price, such as ETH hitting 4K and kind of the optimism that would come with that? Or do you think it's going to be more fundamentally based and driven?
I think it needs to be fundamental at this point, because I think we had all the technical levels and all the bad bearish sentiment towards it. Right now it needs to be fundamental. It needs to be first fundamentally supported.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I would too. I mean, dude, look at all this volume it was doing back here. Like just this pair on Binance. I mean, compared to, I mean, just looking at the candles, like
kind of like the apathetic bleed ever since.
Yeah, that's crazy. Even, I mean, I guess this is somewhat similar, but yeah, just no volume.
I think a lot of it had to do with just that we haven't had enough capital to pump ETH. Like, I definitely adhere to that, or at the very least, all the capital that could pump ETH would have rather bought Bitcoin. And, we've said this multiple times on this show, but, if the reason you buy ETH is just so that it's beta to Bitcoin, this cycle, there are a lot of different things that you can that you can use to buy as beta to Bitcoin. Somebody's got to buy ETH, though.
Yeah, that's my main fundamental issue with ETH right now, is that it undoubtedly has the largest ecosystem, the most developers, the most work being done on it. It has all of these like best, pretty much. Maybe it's lacking in few segments, but it's the most decentralized chain there is. But the problem is that the native coin isn't benefiting from all of its ecosystem growth, and that needs to be somehow, in my opinion, implemented.
Well, I do think the growth of stable coins is potentially going to be very bullish on ETH. At least that's kind of the L1 that I can't really think of any other L1 that's actually going to encourage the same amount of, stable coin growth. If that's going to benefit ETH, is that enough for the network to pump aggressively? Would be my question, because I have been seeing like so many different headlines about obviously when we talk about digital assets, stable coins. And I think a big reason why you're finally seeing people within the US government or their adjacents embrace stable coins is because it ultimately reinforces the dollar status as a world reserve currency. It doesn't demean it, which was kind of the negative narrative that we saw about crypto as a whole for like 5 or 6 years, maybe even longer than that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think ETH is going to be fine. Just off the back of like, we typically know that. I mean, look, ETH's underperformance has just been like, I mean, it's been horrible, right? I think it's having an identity crisis for sure. The hope is that it's not just like outdated tech, right? But I find it hard to imagine that they would get these ETFs approved and we'd still see, ETFs and institutions accumulating just to see the thing literally go to zero. I think the big issue is that a lot of people were viewing it as like better than Bitcoin. Not me, not you guys, but like, oh, the flippening, like, oh, it's ultrasound money. Bitcoin is sound money. It's ultrasound. It was almost like trying to compete with Bitcoin while being nothing like Bitcoin. And it just got clobbered, right? And I don't know if that was a narrative that was pushed by the ETH Foundation. I don't really think it was. It may have been more like community driven ultimately, but I think ETH just kind of needs to carve out its identity. So like, what's the main use case of ETH going to be? Is it going to be DeFi? Is it going to be RWA? Is it going to be working with banks with stable coins? Like, what really is it? And I'm sure they'll figure it out, right? But last cycle, it was like the kind of early DeFi and then like shitcoin degen chain. And then Sol and BNB came in pretty hot. But now it's like nobody wants to shitcoin as much on ETH. You have a few blue chip memes like, Pepe, obviously. They're just different, right? It's just different on ETH. But ETH itself certainly kind of has an identity crisis. There's nothing like functionally wrong with it. It's just like, what's the main attraction? I don't think anybody really knows right now.
Well, it should be DeFi, right? DeFi, the growth of stablecoin. I mean, the network as a whole is supposed to, ETH is supposed to be a currency. And that's almost where Bitcoin has really distinguished itself this cycle. And I feel like the powers that be have helped propagate that narrative, right? Bitcoin for a while was viewed as, the reason it was competing with the US dollar, or that was the fear by people funding it, was, you don't want this to replace the US dollar. What does hyper Bitcoinization actually look like? But ETH, functions more as, I think, a currency. So it hasn't quite had that same like narrative shift that Bitcoin has now benefited from. And as a result, a lot of the FUD around Bitcoin is kind of dissipated. But for ETH, I think it is going to be mostly tied to that network growth, right? How can the ecosystem continue to grow? And I don't think there's been enough native capital this cycle. There haven't been enough degens, right? Because who pumped ETH in the last cycle? It was VCs. It was a lot of people with that had access to kind of that unlimited liquidity that QE and the COVID like zero interest rates provided. That really helped things like DeFi and all of this free-flowing capital flow onto ETH and continue to grow the network. So I do think that those things are probably intrinsically tied together. in that sense. And that's what ETH is going to need to be able to see that network growth, or the network growth. But I do like the fact that we're seeing stable coins become more and more normalized in the mainstream. Because I remember having these discussions with you guys a year or two ago that outside of Bitcoin, stable coins were probably the most important innovation that crypto has had thus far. And based on adoption, I feel even better about that statement. And as unsexy as it is, you know, obviously it's not shit coins, it's not meme coins to the same tune that you can do on Solana. The bigger piece of the pie, or the bigger pie at the end of the day, is going to be potentially onboarding real world assets, financial institutions, and that will more than likely be on ETH. I don't think we're there yet. Like, let me be clear, but I do think that will have to be the narrative that ETH captures, you know, a piece of the pie of. I think that's always been kind of like the most optimistic outlook for ETH. Whether or not it actually captures that mind share, I guess, is another question entirely. And it definitely doesn't look like as much of a guarantee as it did in 2021.
Yeah. I like Bitcoin here, man. I like Bitcoin here, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I am not bullish on Ondo though. For those who made that comment,
Remember the Ondo Condo boys?
I
Mhm.
do.
I do.
Speaking of that, guys, we'll be right back after a quick commercial break brought to you by BB Terminal, guys. First link in the description below, 100% free. Just put in your email, state-of-the-art portfolio tracking, up to 62 different chains. Check it out, guys.
Tired of outdated trading tools, confused charts, dozens of tabs, endless stress? You're not alone. Introducing BB Terminal, your all-in-one command center for crypto trading. Track your portfolio, monitor the markets, stay ahead, all in one place. From chaos to clarity, from struggle to success. BB Terminal.
I love that thing, man. That's pretty sweet.
It's nice. It's nice. Oh man.
Tucker, you think we're basically in like the mid-cycle kind of correction here?
I mean, if I'm just looking at market cipher, then yeah. You know, if that's like all that I'm looking at. I think it looks pretty similar with the wave, with the RSIs here, with the money flow even. Yeah, I think that would make sense. But if you go back another cycle, it's just, yeah, this really shows how different every cycle is, right? Like this, you know, you just went vertical, not vertical, but just straight up with the money flow. This, you kind of, you know, made sense why we had a double top. This, we're kind of getting some garbage too, right? It's not as clean as that first one. So I don't know. I think in general, the trend is higher, and it's just, you know, it's probably like just this money flow, this, if I had to guess, but yeah, that's a hidden bull div too. Look at that. Oh my God, what is wrong with TradingView? Boom, that. You see that? Oh no. See what I'm talking about right there?
Wait, so what are we looking at on the bottom?
We're looking at market cipher. You wouldn't get it, Thomas. You wouldn't get it. It's just a momentum oscillator. That's how you can think of it. That is a big old hidden bullish divergence right there. Lower lows, higher lows. Really, you could pull this whole thing back if you wanted to. I think it resolves up. But what else? What else you guys want to look at?
Hype's up 5%. Guess we can talk about that. I mean, what do you guys? Farcoin's been kind of the risk on indicator. I've been seeing some people call for distribution here, at least locally. I almost wonder if that means more chop. Thankfully, we have a long weekend, though, so we can get some of those chop days out of the way. Moments or things said moments before we get a ton of weekend volatility.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, maybe something like this.
We looked at equities much.
Kind of. I mean, look at Nvidia real quick. Oh dear.
Don't love it, but
Not loving it. Probably comes back to 90. Let's see what we had marked. This low. Pull this back. I mean, if the bottom's not in, you're getting this green box for sure. Something like that.
So today, damn, red again. Yeah, I kind of feel like you need to see Nvidia slow, like pit roll out of that pivot that it set.
pit roll. I haven't heard that in a long time.
I haven't either. Slow pit roll, he said.
I know. I just think you want to see that low. I mean, you swept the August low. Realistically, Nvidia would prefer to see volatility kind of die out here and form like a rounding low on a second test of like 90, if that comes. I think if you're just going to continue accelerating with the selling, I'm not quite sure where like Nvidia could come down a lot if that's the case. And if that plays out, you know, that's just going to continue to put downward pressure on tech indices.
Yeah.
Because if we look at like the 3-day or the weekly, I'd be looking at that green box you have drawn out.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit deeper.
A little bit deeper. No, Tommy.
Because I think if you came into the green box, the bullish market structure would be broken.
I agree with that because right now it's kind of like a sweep of that high time frame low from the summer. I mean, if you could go down there, but it would have to just be like, it would end up having to look like Bitcoin last cycle, you know, where it broke down, had that 3-month summer range, and then just came back from the dead.
It would have to be almost there, right? Because this would be like 30K. This would be like the 60K distribution, and then you bottom basically here
and then roll over.
Double top.
This would be Bitcoin. This is Bitcoin right there.
Did that go to zero, Tucker? It looks like
it went to negative.
Wow.
All right. This is 15K. Okay, this is 15K.
No way, bro. No way.
That's what Bitcoin did. What are you talking about?
No
That's what
way.
Bitcoin did. No, I'm not saying it's going to do that. I'm saying that's what Bitcoin did.
Yes.
I think if you came down and broke another low, you're probably looking at a sharp bounce that ultimately just turns into a complacency shoulder.
Well, look, we can.
Yeah.
Hard to do this.
I think there is no reason for Nvidia not to hold here. The only way is again must
I'm gonna get this right.
depression or something.
Did I just see that your chart template is called America?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if I saw that correctly.
Right. Yeah, you saw that right.
I guess I wouldn't get it.
I guess I wouldn't get it. It's funny. All right. Whoa.
Dude, get that old janky version off the screen. I'm insulted to even look at it.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Right. You'd have to. Nvidia's got to be like the 3-day. You'd have to bottom like here, basically, if you're gonna, you know. Distribution, boom, whatever. Doesn't look identical, but
No, I see the similarities for sure. I think there is a big difference in the drop, of course.
yeah.
And obviously, you know, the context behind. I think Nvidia holds here and starts to climb back up. But I agree with Tommy. If it were to break lower here, then that's really break of the trend, and you are looking for a likely complacency shoulder later on. So all markets pretty much at do or die level. Like, and I think, you know, Trump's kinda, you know, have been hinting this, right? Because the market either needs to or like the negotiations will either go well, and in that term, then this was just a, you know, sort of little black swan, and things get back to normal later on, or those negotiations don't really turn out well, and then you're looking for a, you know, kind of end of the global trade and much lower profits and margins for major world companies and so forth. So
Jackus, have you seen that video where the guy's like, you only have 2 things to worry about? He's like, are you sick or are you healthy? If you're sick, you got nothing to worry about. No, if you're healthy, you got nothing to worry about.
I was gonna say, hang on a second.
Huh. Yeah. And then he like goes down the line all the way to like, it's crazy. But that's exactly what you said. He's like, either the negotiations are going to go well, or they're going to go terrible. If they go well, you got nothing to worry about. If they go terrible, you probably got 2 things to worry about. I don't know where it would go from there, but
I haven't seen that, but yeah, it's really like from all angles I look at this, it just tells me that we must hold here, and if we don't, then, you know, it's not like the other levels that we had above that the market bounced from. This one is way different in lots of sense.
Are you saying lose this level or it's lights out?
Volatility incoming. Still in a range. Oh man.
What are some of the other ones?
But also snip snap in a range.
Total perp trader death. That's Bitcoin now.
Yeah.
Every time I try to punt a trade on Bitcoin perps, within like 10 minutes, I'm reminded why I don't do that anymore. It's so funny because I feel like altcoins used to trade like such complete scams with the way they would sweep liquidity. And now I think I would so much rather trade altcoins than Bitcoin, because Bitcoin just trades like a complete scam on a lower time frame.
Yeah.
High time frame, you can still like read through the noise, I think, a little bit, but lower time frame, man,
Yeah, that's horrible. I totally agree, and that's also the reason why I shift so much towards higher time frame, because that's where you can predict the markets with a good degree of precision, but lower time frames, they just pure, as you said, perpetual trader deaths, and you see like even this little range that we are in, right? If you zoom in, there's been plenty of people who tried to take the short, and the market went down and up and down and up, but haven't taken any lows. It's crazy.
You talking
And
about Bitcoin?
yeah, the shorters might not even get like the first H4 low. Like we haven't even taken a single one. And I've seen so many people on Twitter trying to do that.
Or to who the firm is that like
Yeah, I mean,
the particular.
I don't know if you need to come do one more of these, but you kind of got your free drive, you know.
I'm so hungry for a pump, man. It's been so boring.
You know,
Give us a move.
Just something, please. Let's have some fun.
Yeah.
I was having fun in the volatility, not having as much fun this week.
Is that a green candle, Tucker?
yes,
I'll
that's
take
a
it.
single green candle.
You know that meme where like the little hobbit's like holding up the smallest green candle?
Yes, I do.
I know Jackus has it, I'm sure.
Wait, which one?
It's like that little hobbit's holding up like this tiny green candle and he's like
Yeah.
looking up at it. That's what we're looking at right here.
Literally, the bottom is in.
I love a convicted Jackus. It's one of my favorite things.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like him too, and especially when it plays out.
Yeah. That's the key.
What do you think about gold here?
Well, still bullish, man.
It is
The
still
high end-
bullish. I think it's
dude.
just a matter of like time frame, right?
Dude, the hyping candles look insane.
Like, I wouldn't be fading this at all. And but yeah, you are likely like to get a maybe daily pullback here. After all, it has done. I mean, in less than a week, or in a week, sorry, it has gone up 14%, which for an asset like gold is just like trillions and trillions. That's a huge move. So I would tend to think that yeah, we will probably get a daily pullback or something, but like I wouldn't be fading this type of parabola that we are in. That's, in my opinion, suicide. And from the books I read from the past, most great guys fumbled their wells trying to short charts that look like this.
It isn't full blown parabola, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It really is.
I do think this is a spot it can start to pull back locally, though. I'm gonna stick to that. Not that I'm going to like aggressively short it, but
Well, we do know one thing is that typically Bitcoin will rally when gold cools off a little bit. So, I mean, what a move from gold. I'm kind of rooting against it because more times than not, Bitcoin will pick up right where gold left off.
I feel like they've been going together since the 2020 lows. Like if you look at them, then more or less. Can you put BTC next? Yeah. And then go on a weekly time frame. And then yeah. And then if I look at the 2022 low, even the 2023 September low, more or less, I feel like BTC
kind of.
has
Like,
these sort of
sorry, go ahead.
reaccumulations in between, but once they are done, then I think BTC is going to catch up on gold with this upside. I feel like this little, that box is literally the current box we are in. And I think BTC is to go mental to the upside.
Like that, right? Like gold pulled back, Bitcoin legged up. Bitcoin pulls back, gold legs up,
Could be.
right?
Peter
Like,
Schiff was
maybe
right.
Tucker, could you go back to last cycle and look at it?
You see what I'm saying, though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like gold leads.
Well, gold pulls back, then Bitcoin legs up. Gold legs up, Bitcoin pulls. I mean, it's just,
Go back to last cycle and look at when gold topped, what happened to Bitcoin. Like, draw like a vertical line at the gold
Here?
top. See what I mean there? Like, gold blows off and then Bitcoin goes.
Also, we had the printers running at full capacity during this.
But we
but
also
yeah.
had the COVID shakeout right before, which of course people flight to safety being gold. Like what's going on right now, VIX spiked to 60, people running to gold.
Mhm.
BlackRock going on TV talking their book about gold. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, throw the VIX up down there too. I don't know. Maybe.
So you get VIX blowout, gold top, Bitcoin rip, VIX blowout, maybe gold top. We'll see. We will see. Yeah, COVID did have stimmies though. That's the thing.
BTC to me looks like it wants to go, man. Just do it. We need moves.
I want to have some fun in these markets, man. I mean,
Yeah.
look, I enjoy waking up every day because, like, you never know. I think, Tommy, you used to always say this, or maybe you said it like once and it stuck with me. Any day can be your best day in markets. And I'm like, you know what? You just got to get up every day because you know what? One day Bitcoin's going to put in a 10K meat stick and I'm not going to be sleeping in on that day. I'm going to be right here on Market Check saying, we're pumping, boys.
Bring it.
It's been a while since we said we're pumping, boys.
Too long, man. Too long.
We're ranging, boys.
We're ranging. Boys, we're ranging.
Boys, we're ranging.
We're crabbing.
Mhm.
Crabbing. Crap, snip, snap.
Tommy isms.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's it for me. I gotta run. So we'll just say my farewells.
All right. See you, Chef.
See you guys.
See you, Chef.
Anything that we want to touch on into the end of the show, guys?
I mean, hold on. Is that true what Mr. Tendies just said? Was there a
Make a deal
headline?
with China.
Huh? Oh, yeah.
I mean, we should make a deal with China. I think that would be optimal.
I don't think the market's reacting at all, really.
Boys, nothing's happening.
Nothing's.
I will not turn into a Chud Jack right before something happens. I will not do it.
Yeah.
They want us to look at Ondo, Tucker. I will just never let myself be bullish on this coin. I'm sorry. I've seen too much.
It was playing these fibs super well. I mean, I like the RWA thing, but I mean, it's just. I don't know. It'll probably do fine. If we're bullish, of course.
That looks like Bitcoin at 30K 2022.
Are you saying 65, 69,
Yeah.
30K? Here's 15K down here.
Zero? You keep drawing lines at zero, Tucker.
Well, all right. Well, I mean, it just looks all right. Here, look.
He's trying to tell you, but you're not listening. Okay.
Tommy's the one that's trying to. I don't think it goes down there. I think it probably goes up, but that's what you're saying. If you're saying this is 30K, that's what you're saying, right?
Yes.
Basically.
I mean, I'm just saying it looks similar. I don't actively trade Ondo at all. This is my first time looking at Ondo in probably like months. But yeah, I have seen too much with Ondo to be bullish on it, man. Knowing some of the people in that seed round.
That'll do it. Yeah.
It will. What is that quote by Jesse Pollock, who is now it was like a screenshot of him in a group chat. He's now like the head of the assets that get listed on Coinbase, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna max extract on this one."
Yeah. Yeah.
This maybe we'll see. I'm not that bullish on Ondo.
You don't like condos?
No.
Tommy is Ondo something. Jesus. I'll allow it because it's the end of the week.
Yeah, equity's closed tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
For Good Friday. Every Friday is a Good Friday.
That was a good dad joke, Tommy. I like that one.
Trump just said the U.S. will make a deal with China. Okay.
Max, that was so 10 minutes ago.
Let me see.
I can't believe you said that like it's breaking news.
Oh, you're positioning off news 10 minutes ago? Too bad. You're liquidated.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
I wonder if Bitcoin swipes all these highs into the end of the day and then SFPs them.
I bet
Tiny
you'd like
part.
that, wouldn't you?
I just think it's a possibility.
What are you talking about? Like
These local highs.
these?
Yeah, sweep them into the weekend and then chop some more.
Study that, Tommy.
I think next week's important.
Every week's important.
Next week is particularly important, I think.
Yeah.
All right. I think we wrap it up here. Boring week.
Yeah.
We'll
Is what
be
it
we'll be back with some more entertainment next week, guys, if we do anything but this. So yeah. Anyways. All right, we're going to run one commercial, guys. Reminder, free portfolio tracker brought to you by BB Terminal, guys. It's shocking to me that there are not all of you literally in the comments being like, man, I love tracking my portfolio on BB Terminal. It's shocking to me. But anyways, check this out, guys. We're going to run a little commercial here. Again, totally free. You just put in your email and you can use it immediately. It takes like 10 seconds. So thanks for tuning in. We will see you next week. And enjoy this little commercial.
Welcome to the all-new BB Terminal portfolio. Faster, smarter, and now free for everyone. Signing up is easy. Just use your Google account to get started in seconds. Once you're in, you'll get a clean, aggregated view of all your wallets. Or dive into individual wallets for more control. We support Wallet Connect for seamless syncing. And don't worry, we use industry-standard encryption to keep your data safe and secure. Prefer not to connect your wallet? No problem, just use our manual entry mode. Choose as many tokens as you like. Then plug in your transactions. It's quick and intuitive. Watch your portfolio stats and charts update in real time. Your portfolio refreshes automatically every hour, but you can also sync instantly with just one click. BB Terminal Portfolio, available to everyone for free.
All right. Thanks, guys. See ya.